Wasn't surprised at all.
No.
I mean, it seems completely makes sense, but that's exactly what I expected.
Yeah, it seemed like just a matter of time, too.
There's no way you can look like that. In your 40s, I mean, he's preposterous.
Everything and anything.
Because Joe Rogan.
Please, Joe Rogan, let me be on your podcast, dude. I'm not on steroids, I promise. We'll have a killer conversation.
Even after his arrest and the issuance of a restraining order, Liverking has vowed not to back down, and Joe Rogan has warned that this will only end badly for him. Brian Johnson, the self-proclaimed Liverking, was released from a Texas county jail after posting a $20 bond for making a terroristic threat against Rogan, but just hours later. Instead of laying low, he returned to Instagram with the same intensity, the same fire, and the same unsettling obsession. He's still determined to pick a fight with Rogan.
Let's say you pull off what you think you're going to do and get access to Rogan, which is never happening. But let's say you're able to get through the fucking wall of special forces security that he has, jump the gate that he has, get through security, get through all the bullshit, the guns, the dogs, good fucking luck. But let's say he has a special set of skills and he does that. And then you get face to face with a guy who's trained in fucking Taekwondo. He's a black belt.
The court laid out strict conditions. Johnson must stay at least 200 yards away from Joe Rogan and his family, follow a mandatory curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., wear an ankle monitor, and complete a mental health evaluation within a week. Yet none of this has slowed him down, not even the risk of violating the restraining order, which could land him back in jail. "We came here to pick a fight, and we're going to do it," he declared in a video posted just a day after his release. His followers, now numbering over 3 million, watched as he doubled down.
Influencer known as the Liver King, arrested in Texas today after posting threats directed at Joe Rogan. Police arrested him after learning he was planning to travel to Austin, where Rogan lives. Rogan told police he and the Liver King have never interacted. Reps for both him and for Rogan have not responded to our
Johnson didn't just speak to the camera, he mocked Rogan in ways that came off as almost childish, yet undeniably hostile. In one video, he claimed the Wi-Fi password at his Four Seasons hotel was "F you Joe Rogan." In another clip, he was seen crawling on all fours through the hotel hallway, ankle monitor clearly visible, as if daring authorities to intervene. Although he later suggested, perhaps sarcastically, that his feud might actually be with Seth Rogen, the true target was obvious. Every message was unmistakably aimed at one man.
So I'm like, hey, anybody know my name? Anybody know my name? Liver King. Who am I fighting? Joe Rogan. By the way, I don't know if anyone knows, we're going to have free Wi-Fi everywhere we are. We're going to have free Wi-Fi. And the password for this week, only 1 week, is fuck you, Joe Rogan.
He hasn't gone into detail as to what the source of the beef is, though he's some speculating on his podcast before and suggested that his steroid use is pretty
For his
obvious.
part, Rogan told police he has never even interacted with Johnson. Their connection exists solely through the media. Rogan has openly discussed Johnson's steroid use on his podcast and hasn't held back in criticizing the Liver King's brand. In Rogan's words, Johnson is just another internet personality pushing a product, someone who lied about being natural and sold a fantasy to millions. It's not hard to see why Johnson fixated on him. Rogan is arguably the most powerful figure in the health, fitness, and podcasting world. Getting on his radar in a negative light guarantees attention, and Johnson thrives on
One of them
attention.
came up to me in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of my security guards stopped him. He was like, "I'm a producer for the Liver King." I'm like, what the fuck do you produce? What are you producing?
Like, how many UFC events did he try and kind of, like, cozy up?
He was front row at one of my shows in Vegas.
Oh, damn.
The MGM. And then I saw him again at the Canelo fight. He was trying really hard to get on the podcast. And he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine.
Yeah, he told me he was trying to get on.
Yeah, for
In
what?
2022, the Liver King's empire, dubbed the Liverpire, began to crack after leaked emails exposed his steroid use. It was a bombshell revelation, especially since he had always claimed his ancestral physique came solely from raw meat, sunlight, and grueling workouts. The backlash was immediate. In response, Johnson released a video apology, admitting he had been dishonest and saying he did it for the sake of his brand, but the damage was already done. Netflix's recent documentary Untold, The Liver King, only made things worse, painting a portrait of a man willing to chase fame at any cost, crafting a myth and selling it to the world. The film features interviews with his family, former business associates, and explores his relentless pursuit of virality. Even in his current spiral, Johnson seems keenly aware of its impact, saying in a recent video, clearly referencing the documentary, things that weren't true were then disseminated in a movie seen by millions of people.
You guys back up those people in the back of the car? Inside the car? Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I challenge you man to man to a fight.
What's changed now isn't Johnson's tactics, it's their intensity. His videos have become increasingly erratic, delivered with a manic energy that shifts wildly in tone. His words swing between motivational, threatening, and outright bizarre. One moment, he's challenging Rogan to a fight, man to man, saying he hopes they both get hurt but no one dies. The next, he's talking about his family, accusing Rogan of being a bully and claiming his livelihood has been attacked. There's no ambiguity in Johnson's message. He wants Rogan to acknowledge him not as a punchline, but as a man, a worthy adversary, someone deserving of time on the Joe Rogan
UFC events to try and kind of like cozy up.
He was front row at one of my shows in Vegas.
Oh damn.
At the MGM. And then I saw him again at the Canelo fight. He was trying really hard to get on the podcast. And he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine.
Yeah, he told me he's trying to get on.
Yeah, for what? For what? Say that more? Like, come on, this is dumb, man. This is a fucking, you ran a con game and you got busted.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that you feel terrible. I'm sorry you feel bad.
But Rogan is staying silent, at least publicly. He hasn't directly addressed the arrest or Johnson's videos since the latter's release. Behind the scenes, however, it's clear he took the threat seriously. Rogan told Austin police that Johnson's videos made him fear for his and his family's safety, a fear that led to the restraining order and Johnson's arrest at the Four Seasons Hotel on June 25th, the same hotel where Johnson is now posting defiant videos. MMA bantamweight champion Sean O'Leary also weighed in, trolling Johnson on social media with a satirical video in it. O'Leary mimics Johnson, mockingly pleading with Rogan to let him on the podcast. "I'm not on steroids. I promise we'll have a killer conversation." The joke highlights just how absurd Johnson's campaign for attention has become in the eyes of fellow influencers.
I guarantee you, why do people get like so like you see the shit with like the Liverpire and stuff, like he came out and said he's out and all that shit? I don't really give a fuck. I don't really. I don't care. I don't even think about it sometimes. Sometimes you get that.
But as absurd as Johnson's behavior may seem, it's also deeply concerning. Violating a restraining order, posting messages that blur the line between satire and threat, and openly talking about getting hurt in a fight or while under court supervision suggests this is no longer just about publicity. Mental health professionals will now be involved, as mandated by the court, but even that may not be enough. The issue isn't just whether Johnson is stable, it's whether anyone can persuade him to let go of his obsession with Rogan before the situation escalates even further.
All you got to do is go get implants.
Are you
Should I do that, sir? They're like $10K each. I'm rocking $100 fucking K worth of.
Those are implants?
Dude, you think somebody to get a feel on that, and they don't move. They don't fucking move.
At the core of this drama lies a very modern kind of fame. The Liver King built his empire on shock value eating raw testicles, working out to the point of collapse, and shouting about ancestral tenets. It worked. He built a supplement business, gained a massive following, and made a name for himself. But after being exposed, that empire began to rot from within. He needed a new storyline, and Rogan became that storyline. As long as Johnson interprets any responsive and illegal one as attention, he has no incentive to stop.
Yeah. Support anything and everything. Because Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you. I challenge you man to man.
His recent messages are laced with both victimhood and aggression. "I'm here in Austin for one word, family," he said in a video, only to immediately pivot into an attack, accusing Rogan of being a bully who forgot how his words could affect others. Johnson oscillates between defending his loved ones and threatening a celebrity he's never even met. Observers have begun to question whether this behavior is strategic, a calculated play for clout, or symptomatic of something deeper and more serious. Some believe the Netflix documentary hit too close to home. Others think he's angling for a redemption arc, hoping to win back public favor through yet another headline grabber.
Do you know that our podcast was the first public forum where he was asked about doing steroids and then he got exposed being on a clothing?
If you ask me, yo, how would you describe Liver King in person? He is a sweet sweet, man.
But so smelly.
Like, if you were to die in Coney Island and your body wasn't discovered for like 13 to 17 days, that would be the smell that's secreted from his arm.
But regardless of the reason, it's clear that the Liver King isn't backing down. He's testing the limits of what the internet, the legal system, and the public are willing to tolerate, and for now, those boundaries seem dangerously thin. In the immediate aftermath of Brian Johnson's arrest, the influencer known as the Liver King has continued to dominate headlines not just within fitness circles, but across national media outlets and psychological commentary platforms alike.
This guy literally right to my face would say, like, blatantly, I am natural.
There's some people that are really jacked that are natural.
For sure.
I fucked up.
I don't know if you guys are able to watch. That's what I was leaning to. Is just like, I feel like his overall body composition is pretty consistently represented. I don't think it's implants. So, well, granted, then it's like, well, if it's unnoticeable, would you even?
You only see the stuff that's not good.
What began as the story of a provocative online figure crossing a legal line has quickly evolved into something far more layered and troubling. The Liver King is no longer just an eccentric bodybuilder promoting organ meat and ancestral tendencies, now at the center of a growing media and cultural storm. Responses from journalists, followers, mental health experts, and entertainment insiders are painting a deeply conflicted portrait of a man who appears to be slipping into psychological decline and doing so in full public view.
Well, shut the fuck up.
Well, so
I know he's eating really healthy. It's clear he's eating all these animal foods, and he's eating organ meat, which is very rich in nutrients. Well, that's true, but dodging the main bullet.
It's too late for him now because he said no.
Yeah.
So if he is even on TRT, he should come out and just say it.
Well, look at him.
Because, I mean,
do you know how rare it is to have a
Mainstream
physique?
media outlets long accustomed to covering social media controversies are approaching this saga with uncharacteristic seriousness. Even the New York Post, typically quick to highlight the bizarre, moved beyond jokes this time. They reported in detail on Johnson's post-release behavior, noting how he immediately returned to Instagram to post videos that ranged from absurd to alarming. One clip, in particular, drew intense attention. Johnson crawling on all fours through the hallway of his upscale hotel, a visibly tight ankle bracelet on display, while offering commentary that veered between humor and threat. These kinds of stunts, once the hallmark of his brand, are no longer being interpreted the same way.
Every walk of life, and Liver King is a bad person. So you have to just, honestly, you have to find people that speak to things that make sense. You have to do your own research, and then you kind of have to, figure out who to believe, who to trust, and kind of go with that. Does that make sense? Like, you have to do your own research and contrast it with somebody.
Instead of generating viral laughs, Johnson's actions are now being viewed through a much darker lens. In a sharp editorial-style piece, Vulture focused not just on the videos themselves, but on the reactions of his once loyal followers. Their tone has shifted, where earlier comments on the Liver King's posts were filled with fire emojis, chants of Alpha King, and admiration for his intensity. Many of the newer responses express concern and desperation. Some followers are openly urging him to seek help. "We love you, man, but something's off," one comment read. Another added, "This doesn't feel like content anymore. It feels like
because of what it implies." I think a better question really is, it's the same question, do you take things? My answer has been the same because I've always told the truth. And you can say or think whatever you want.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, this is what my message is really all about. Did you know 50 years ago, we had on average 50% higher testosterone? If you just think about that, we could probably go 50 to 100% higher just by doing the 9 ancestral tenets. Isn't that what most people do with steroids? To increase their testosterone by 50
That
to
growing
100?
sentiment that the performance may be turning into something more troubling is echoed across media. People magazine, better known for red carpet coverage than influencer meltdowns, dedicated space to the court-mandated terms of Johnson's release. They highlighted the strict 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, the ankle monitor, and the mandatory mental health evaluation he must complete within a week. According to court documents, failure to comply could result in the revocation of his bond. Yet instead of laying low, Johnson has become more prolific than ever, filming videos, posting declarations, and relentlessly repeating his call to action, whatever that action may ultimately
Joe Rogan's town, Austin. I was here before you, Joe Rogan's. Texas, that's my home. This week you probably might need to worry about me. You probably need to worry about Joe Rogan more. You've never come across something like this. Willing to die, hoping that you'll choke me out all week, Joe Rogan. So when I'm like, hey, anybody know my name? Liver King. Who am I fighting? Joe Rogan. By the way,
TMZ went further than most, exploring law enforcement's perspective on Johnson's arrest. According to officers cited in the report, his speech during detainment was disjointed and erratic. One officer noted that Johnson didn't seem to be making coherent sense, describing him as emotionally dysregulated and seemingly unaware of the seriousness of the charges. The implication is clear. Authorities see a legitimate concern for Johnson's psychological stability serious enough to warrant real intervention. Subscribe to my channel for the latest updates on this unfolding story and more breaking